How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the 2 Degree Podcast brought to you by the Play On Foundation. Today's guest goes back, way, way back with me. He's part of the Mandem. And I think we're gonna keep it real this episode. But I'm looking forward to talking about his business. He is one of the best, if not the best, barber in Toronto, and he's making his mark. He's got his clients, and everybody loves him. And I'm thrilled to push the fuck out of his talent. But everybody, we got Khori. What's going on, brother?
Nothing much, buddy. How you doing, man?
Just chilling. How are you?
How's
I'm curious to know, how are you? Like, in all sense of the question, how you doing, bro?
um the name of the game is survival. The day by day brand, the routine, the model, that's my thing. It's not something that I take for granted, in a sense where literally every single day is a fight, and it's what everyone, especially in the service industry, what everyone that's hurt by this whole thing is going through.
Mm,
Because I could complain. I could honestly complain, but I'll be complaining to someone else that could complain also. That's
mm,
probably, if not to the same thing, could be going through something worse than me. Perfect example. My revenue, my shop is down 50%. I was complaining to someone that told me that someone in their family just got diagnosed with stage 4 or stage 3, sorry, cancer.
mm.
So it's just, my problems aren't any bigger or any better than anyone else's. So I have to just vent when I can vent and handle it when I handle it.
Yeah. Well, it's not so much about comparing strife now, man. Like,
Yeah.
because then in a way you kind of invalidate your problem while you're going through it, when in reality, like, the problem is there and it's affecting you. So it's like, when it comes down to, you know, and it's how it is in the group too. Like, when we ask, like, what's going on and stuff like that, nobody's gonna try and gaslight your problem. And if the other person is going through a problem, it's not meant to gaslight. It's just meant to, you know, empathize in a way that everybody's going through stuff, right? So even with respect to that, man, it's just like, your problems are valid. So don't make it seem like, you got to handle it on your own. So with that, man, like, how's your head at? Where's your mental nowadays?
You know what? I'm I'm really positive. Um, I believe that if I'm still here standing, that everything's good. Like I have tremendous support, which is
Hmm.
overwhelming because I literally opened up a business right in the midst of the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic. So my whole entire
Ah,
business
hold
saw.
on, bro. Give me a second. Give me a second. I gotta fix my power. We might have one more interruption like that. Hopefully not, but we'll see how far we can take this. But my bad. You were saying?
Um. Oh yeah, I opened up.
Just in regards to, like, opening up a business. Yeah.
Yeah, I opened up a business in the beginning of a pandemic. Um, and I'm still standing when I say I could have let the whole thing affect me. And I just find it
Hmm.
so ironic, the whole situation where I had more trouble opening up a business in a normal day setting of the world, like in a sense where I went to the bank, I asked the bank for a loan, they said no, you're a new business, you have no records, no nothing, nothing at all. And then the beauty of it, I had the incorporation from before. So when I was cutting, I was still recording some stuff, and then the pandemic hit. They're like, "Oh, we'll give you a loan," and I was just like, So you guys are willing to give me a loan when I'm shut down, but you're not willing to give me a loan when I'm trying to open up.
Yeah.
And I found that so funny that they decided to put a pause on their screening process in terms of what businesses are legit, what businesses have X amount of time of cash, revenue, flow, profit, whatever it is. We're just going to throw debt. We're just going to start throwing debt at these businesses that are asking. And we'll see who comes out from this. We'll see who uses it well. And at the end of the day, banks and financial institutions, they like to just throw these things out there because they know people are going to take them. And if they take them, they have to repay them. They were going to use something as collateral. So you want to take a business name, a business loan, and if you take it and something goes wrong, then we're gonna take back our business. We're gonna take your business. We're gonna take whatever rights to it. So I found myself applying for a lot of loans, grants, looking into forums, community networks, and the pandemic itself really pushed me to really get my grind hat, trying to figure out what I can do, what's out there. I was applying to anything and everything. So in a sense, motivational wise, I'm really up there because I feel like I could have really let this whole thing just tear down my brand and, cancel and not go through this whole thing. But where I stand now is like, if I can make it through this, I can make it through anything. If I can make it through a whole pandemic, like last year, we were shut down for a total of 7 months.
Oh, wow.
And we were still able to get good revenue and still push we're pushing a brand during the midst of a lockdown. And I'm surprised. And from, we're going to this kind of cost here and support and giving tips here and there. And then it went to, you guys are actually really good and you guys deserve this price. And it was actually the transition of the barbershop industry. It was a transition for a lot of industries, actually, from one price being A to B. And I'm glad to say.
So talk about that specifically with like the barbershop industry. So what was it before? What is it now?
The pricing was hovering around $20, $25, $30 with tip. Where it's at now is 40, 50, sometimes even all the way to 60, 65.
Yeah.
There was a lot more services that were provided to clients that weren't there before. And people are starting to see the effects, see the benefits, and they justify it now, So they don't have a hard time putting $50 on a service because they essentially are getting more. The customer service, the payment structure, getting notifications when their appointments are coming up, more time. Because oddly enough, so when the lockdown happened and then they reopened, we weren't able to say, client, come. Like it was one of those like clean, cut your client clean. So essentially, client per hour. And during that 1 hour, pretty much, we were cutting hair and especially allowing guys to vent. A lot of clients, that was their time to. So I had one guy completely break down. Like when we reopened, completely like broken down. He didn't cut his hair for, what was it, 5 months? And he was he was saying to like me, like he did not realize the power of getting a haircut and being able to release his stresses in the setting that we
Mm,
created, how it could have so much effect on him mentally. And I said,
mm,
what do you mean by that? And he's like, I woke up every single day and looked in the mirror for 5 months and I hated how I looked.
mm,
And that started to play on my positivity. It started to play on my optimism. Like it was really affecting how I went on day to day. I went to bed and I said, I woke up ugly and I went to bed ugly. And I knew I was gonna do the same thing tomorrow and the day after. And he's like,
jeez.
as much as I love my wife, I needed that manly aspect. I needed that place to
Mm,
talk about sports. I needed that forum. And I didn't really notice the importance that I had on it all until after this. We're
mm,
not just service providers in terms of cutting hair. We are free therapists. Not essentially free,
yeah,
but with
yeah.
I've heard so many different stories. It is insane. I have clients that are, I'm not gonna name no names, but they're going through breakups during the pandemic. So imagine you're losing your business and you're losing home and kids and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, who do you talk to?
Mm.
Who do you honestly talk to, you know?
I'm sure though, like before you, before the pandemic, there was some level of understanding your role in society in that aspect. Like you as a barber, even I remember watching Barbershop for the first time and the way they broke down what the barbershop was, what kind of establishment that was. Like, where was your head at in regards to the mental well-being of your clients?
It was always there, but the dynamic of the shop has changed now because when you're charging $15-20 for a haircut, you're pushing out quantity. There's actually no
Hmm.
quality, right? You're just trying to cut. So there's not really speaking aspect. There's hey, how you doing? Like, how's everything? Da, da, da. What are we doing today? That sort of thing. But now you're actually getting to know your clients. There's a common issue, the whole pandemic. There's a common issue with everyone, and it's all about different perspectives. Taking the
Hmm.
time to refocus and relearn certain people, like vice versa, in terms of them getting to know me, what I went through, and me sharing my perspectives with them. And now we're transitioning into a whole new dynamic of barber to client relationship, where it's I'm not
Hmm.
just a service provider, I'm actually your brother. Like me just cutting
Yeah.
your hair, one thing, but if you ever need anything, if you need to talk, whatever, holla at me. And I have clients like after I'm
Yeah.
done, they do go through stuff and they do call me, and I'm there. Like, what's going on? What happened now? Like, okay, all right, we have guys that
Hmm.
just come even though they're not essentially allowed to, but they need that second opinion. They need that bit of
Yeah.
advice. As a man, we we need that forum and mental stability. There's a good chunk of it that gets released in the barbershop.
Yeah. What's your opinion on that then in regards to what you just said, where it's like, as a man, where there's so much pent up masculinity, um, and then what is it about the barber shop that kind of just lets that guard down, that allows men to just express themselves that they can't do outside?
I think common ground, common understanding, where we're all equals.
Hmm.
We like the same things, and if not, we have a common service that we're coming to cut our hair. The feeling is the same feeling that we all experience, the before and after aspect. We're not just
Hmm.
cutting our hair just to cut our hair. You know, we're cutting our hair to have a positive outcome out of it. So while we're doing that, we're stuck at the same time and the same place for at least half an hour. So now we can
Hmm.
get the perspectives from different um, areas of the world, to be honest with you. Today we were having like a good debate about the snowstorm here on Monday, and we had a client
What's
come.
the debate?
Well, what it was really, it was oddly enough, we're talking about snowblowers. And the reason we got to that point is because we had a client that was from Peel region, and we had a client from York region, and we had a client from Scarborough. And the whole thing was, one client was saying his street hasn't been shoveled by the city in like 3 days, like his street's still not shoveled. Then one client is like, Peel, like we got that same night. And then we were talking about how we're gonna start investing into like snow blowers and all these other things that as kids we never saw value in, but as now you're getting older, your back is hurting, your legs are hurting, you know, spending money on snow blowers, that's a valuable thing now. Like
Hmm.
we when they end up going back to what happened to the kids that used to come around and shovel snow for like 10-15 bucks, and it's just like
They're on
we're talking
TikTok.
about,
They're on Instagram.
yo,
They're doing TikTok
wait,
videos.
but we're not even that, we're talking about these kids now are playing video games making thousands. They're too good for 10-15 bucks.
Yeah.
Thousands.
Damn.
And it's just, we can't
I
even
didn't even
make a
think
joke
about
about it.
that.
Thousands playing video games. You think they're coming out to shovel snow?
Hmm.
Like wow, man. It's it's really it's really weird when certain things like the big snowfall happens, and it's just different things that people were going through. One guy said he was fine until then he had to get off the um the off ramp on the highway, and there was like 10 cars in a ditch, and he stopped on the highway because he was gonna join those those cars. And the thing is, it's like these are the conversations that we're all that we're having. But
Hmm.
now that you're in open forum, and that's why like spaces like this are good, because we all need to vent. Else, a lot of people they just hold it in and they're gonna implode. Monday was
Yeah.
very frustrating for a lot of people. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Whereas
So
where are you now?
with we're in California.
It's like, oh, we heard Toronto, and oh my gosh, so I don't miss it. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
like, what were
Now,
you gonna say?
you as oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to brand yourself right now? Just Speqtrim everywhere. Just put that S up everywhere. Is that
Oh,
what's going on? You
oh,
just had
sorry,
to.
didn't see that. Sorry, my bad, my bad. Sorry, sorry.
just because like just in case
Oh
your
my
hat
god.
and your
Sorry.
sweater wasn't enough, you just need
Oh,
to
wait.
put it on your screensaver, right?
Hold
Just
on. Hold on. Sorry, sorry, sorry. I'm very proud of my
let's get it.
brand. I'm very proud.
Let's get into that first. I want to talk about merch.
Yeah.
What is like? How is that? How does that go about? Where it's like, are people ready to buy merch and rep? Is it hard to push merch nowadays? Because like I don't know, I feel everybody is on their own fashion tip where they just want to wear what they want to wear. So how do you know what merch to put out?
You know what? I keep it very simple. When we were curating the brand and the logo and everything, I wanted something that didn't force me into a lane where I'm not bashing these guys or, but let's just say Brown Box Barbershop. Why would I want to wear a hat that says Brown Box Barbershop? Unless I only go to Brown Box Barbershop, then
Mm,
I'll wear it. But outside of that, we specifically created the logo where it doesn't like cast us as only as a barbershop. It's
yeah,
more of of a lifestyle, like a brand. It's not
gotcha.
just a barbershop. That's what I mainly, when
Mm,
we were building our business plan and all that stuff, I was pushing that like crazy. I do not, because I seen the whole merge. I seen like we want to go start branding into products now, right? And I wanted the logo to take the bias out of it. Oh, you're just a barbershop. I wanted the logo to say,
mm,
oh, it looks neat. What does it stand for? I wanted that conversational piece. Oh,
gotcha.
who's that? Like, what? I want people to say, what's this, and ask questions rather than to say, oh, shoebox barbershop. Oh, okay, it's a
Mm,
barbershop. The conversation dies right there. The
gotcha.
only thing that can possibly happen after that is, oh, shoebox barbershop. Oh, are they any good? Oh, okay, okay, all right, all right. I wanted the conversation to continue because
Yeah.
Speqtrim in itself as a brand is what I see it as the forum, the service provider, the educational aspect, because we're teaching now. We're teaching kids, we're teaching adults, we're teaching people how to use this platform to provide,
Mm.
because the way I look at it, I can't cut hair forever, but as long as I've made my mark in the industry, I've done what I needed to do. I've been cutting hair for 20 years now, going on 21 years. I can't be cutting hair forever. It's taking a toll on my
So then
body.
how are you passing it on? Like explain that for me. Like how are people using Spectrum? Like are you teaching classes on how to do lineups and stuff now?
So we actually have a A to Z educational class, and we're trying to go on into like a co-op and start going into the schools, but it's been kind of difficult with the whole COVID. This
Mm,
was the plan before COVID happened, but now with these schools and the different learning plans and the whole co-op thing is kind of non-existent. Um, so right now it's just maybe like one-on-one mentorships. We currently have 3 people currently on the one-on-one mentorships. We have one guy he's 16 or turning 16, sorry, still in high school. And I think he's coming on to his 3rd month and he's already cutting hair. Like literally started
oh, wow.
from nothing and now he's cutting hair. And I feel happy and proud if I can show someone how to cut hair. Because when I was growing up
Mm,
and I didn't have that. I didn't have a mentor. I was literally learning from trial and error. I didn't have YouTube. I
Yeah.
didn't have any of these things. And now with all these things plus a mentor, you can cut down your educational time in half, if not like 3/4. It took me how
Hmm.
many years to get to this point? I had to travel to different places to learn from different people. And these kids now are just going on YouTube or going on TikTok and learning all these finesses. Like, we're talking about cutting down a whole industry just in 2 months, and learning, like, if you really, really want to know how to do
Yeah.
it, the ins and outs, you can learn it really fast. And if I can put my
Hmm.
stamp on there saying this is Speqtrim's way of teaching this, or Speqtrim's, and you can learn from this, and I'm happy with that. As if because a couple years down the road, if he comes back to me and says, "Yo, because of you, I put my kid through high school," that's gonna make me happy. Or sorry, university, that's gonna make me happy.
Yeah.
I use a tool of cutting hair, and I moved to Indonesia, and I showed a village in Indonesia how to cut hair there, and then like it doesn't stop just at me. It stops at me if I
Hmm.
don't educate others. But
Yeah.
if I can now say teach this person, now it starts to multiply and grow, and that's
Hmm.
where I want the brand to go. So back to the whole merch aspect,
Hmm.
I push the brand, and the brand just sells merch
Yeah.
because it's there. And is like,
Yeah.
and
I get it.
our merch currently, we did a couple selected pieces, more off like one-off sets, and I'm happy to say like they all sold off. And now we're having people
Yeah.
coming back and saying what happened to this and what happened to that. When are you guys going to get more? And so we like to feel off of that aspect, and then we can get quantity of certain things that people really like.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it's
Nice.
overwhelming how people are gravitating towards the merch, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. So this year the goal is to expand that also.
Hmm. You brought up a interesting point just now where you said you had to learn trial and error. So was that you cutting on your own head, or was that you had friends that, yeah, I'll trust you with trimmers?
um, the way I actually started cutting hair, and I was frustrated with the traditional barbershop aspect where you'd walk in and you'd put your name down and you'd wait for hours,
Hmm.
3-4 hours, some as a kid, like, because they're just skipping you,
Yeah.
just skipping you, like, you're here, like, no, I'd rather cut, because again, the quantity thing, right? In that time span, would I rather cut a kid for $15 or cut an adult for $25 in the same time span? So it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna keep pushing and pushing and pushing. All right, okay, all right, finally someone. So it got to the point where I didn't want to be there anymore as an 8-year-old in a barber shop and just full of men. It was just anxiety. This
So this
anxiety,
started at
just
8.
8 was when I was just like, I can cut hair. And then,
Wow.
or I wanted to, like, I didn't understand, I couldn't grasp it. I didn't understand it, but I wanted to.
Hmm.
And then when I got to about 10, my dad had one of those 20-in-1 kits, like the Conair 20-in-1 kits. I don't know
I
essentially
had
what he
I
was
had
using it.
I had one
Yeah.
I had one of those too, and like this is back when I had a shaved head, so it's like my hair is down my back now, but it's like back in the day I remember I had a shaved head, and my dad got like one of those kits, and just like every second week, bless you, um I just like take it and just I didn't even use the 20 pieces. It was zero. Just nyeh, nyeh, nyeh. And that was it. Like I never used any of the other pieces. I didn't know what they were for. But no, those are essential, man.
Yeah. So
You
he
raise
had
your
the
hand.
21. No, I went like this, and look, see, look,
Oh,
hear about this?
I was like, did you just raise your hand to just get me to stop talking?
Look. It's gonna ask. See, technology, bro.
I hope that got recorded. That's so funny. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm sorry for taking your time to talk. I'm sorry. Back to you.
it's crazy. This thing is so on point. Like it's popping up like every single second. Wow, technology, man. Um. So yeah, the 21 kit. I didn't know how this thing worked. I just knew if I plugged it in and I turned it on, it would do stuff. Stuff. I don't know what it would
Mm,
do, but it would stuff. It would do the stuff. And I turned it on, and this thing. Now that I know what I know now, that clipper was completely garbage, trash. Like I don't even know what he was used. I don't want to know what he was using that for. But I cleaned it off. I sanded it down or whatever, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna lie to my friends and tell them I know how to cut hair. I literally woke up and chose violence. I said I know how to cut hair. I lied to every single one of them, and I think
oh man.
after the eighth hair, after the eighth haircut, I'm like, okay, it's not so bad. I used the same clipper to cut hair and line up, shave, clipper. This
Wow.
strategy was crazy. It was getting hot. I had to pace it because it started going into like a soldering iron. Like we would just
Oh man.
the one clipper used to take breaks, and like it went from there. And I remember I would go into where is it, the mall, and they didn't really have. This is the next thing. They didn't have stores that sold barber equipment. It was
Mm.
very the way the industry has changed now,
All they had is, oh yeah, all they had was like Canadian Tire.
buddy. Yeah, I'm so proud of the industry how it's blossomed into such an amazing thing, and I can proudly say I saw the industry go from where $100 haircut seemed impossible to it
Mm.
being somewhat norm now. I couldn't fathom that when I was at 10 years old, 12 years old, watching some of these videos on TV and hearing he's charging $100. I couldn't fathom that. I
Yeah.
said $100. Wow, that's so crazy. Like, wow, how? And then now we're here at this point where $50 is the norm. If I go to someone's
Mm.
house, it's $150, $200. And I'm just like, wow, that's pretty crazy. So now
Yeah.
I wonder what's happening gonna come next.
But then like so even not yet looking in the future, still looking at the past. So how long did it take for you to like get confident with your lineup skills?
It it took me a while, mainly because I was using the clipper to try and line up people. It was I wouldn't suggest that, not at all. I wouldn't suggest that. And I can probably say I still have those guys till this day. I saw one of them today actually, where
That's
they're
dope.
like, Yeah, he was one of my first guys. And yeah, he fucked me up. Like, he me. If it wasn't my stupid haircut, he wouldn't be where he is now. And I'm just like,
How old was he when you were cutting him in the early days? Was that high school times?
yeah, 12 was when I really started to say, yeah, tell your friends and your friends and your friends. And by the time I got to grade 9, I was cutting, believe it or not, I was cutting hair for $5. $5 giving haircuts for.
That reminds me of when I worked on cruise ships,
Yeah.
where you had like that one Filipino that brought their clippers from home, and then just to make some extra money off shift, they'd be cutting for like $5 when if you cut your hair upstairs, it'd be like $35. So he was making a good change off of off of the crew.
Why? That's wild. But yeah, it got to the point where I was coming home from high school and there would be like 10 guys in front of my house. And it started from there because it went from, oh, you're going to Khori's to cut your hair to, yo, we're going to go chill at Khori's. And it got to the point where my mom said, if you don't stop this, I'm going to evict you. Because I couldn't rule them anymore. I couldn't. There was people that are coming to my house. I don't know who the hell they are. But
oh shit,
but
gotcha.
Just word of mouth. Think about it. Just word of not TikTok, not anything. Word of mouth.
Yeah.
These people were showing up to my house. I had no clue who these guys were. No clue.
Yeah.
Oh, I know Steven, and Steven
That's so
knows
funny.
Joshua, and I got to that point. And this is why I say, like, now it's beautiful to be in this industry at this point, because you have so many media, you have so many outlets to brand yourself. I made a video, I think 2 weeks ago, and I was shocked. 7,000 people viewed the video in 1 week. 7,000 people. And I'm just like, that's pretty crazy. I've got that kind of viewership, and I'm not no big influencer anymore. But I realized if I continue with this consistency, I can probably double that, especially now how Instagram has the reels, and then you have TikTok, and it's actually pretty crazy to me. But it's a good crazy. It's just how you use it.
No, for sure. So then for those videos then, are you hiring out somebody to do those videos, or are you also branching out into learning about that art and that craft? So it's like, are you learning editing and that stuff too?
I'm trying to learn more into editing. I used to play around with it before, but now I'm realizing there's a skill to it. The editing aspect is one thing, because I used to do photography before, so I know somewhat the editing and cutting and doing videography and all that aspect I know of. But how they're shooting these 30-second, 50-second clips now is just a little bit different. There's a different art to it. The way they're down the phone and then picking it up, and a whole new outfit is on, or like it's spinning. How they shoot it now is really amazing, especially because they're doing it off iPhones. They're doing it off Samsung, and then they're editing it right there in the app. The turnaround time is crazy. 10 minutes. Less.
Yeah, less. Because once you get that formula down of like how you do your videos, like you could probably make one of those videos in like 2-3 minutes.
Yeah. But I'm trying to stay consistent. Someone told me like the biggest thing they notice with me is if I'm gonna put this aspect out, I kind of fall back with the consistency, because it's hard to cut hair and then take all these videos and then go home and then have to just
Yeah.
edit them, and because now the
Yeah.
timing, you want to strike the iron when it's hot and stuff. Like you can't release a video when it's stale now, like and stuff.
I'm happy you
So I
brought us back to this point of like bringing it home where, as you said earlier, and I totally agree, where it's like you're a therapist in a sense, where people come out and they unload. And in my experience, that takes a lot of capacity. Not too sure if that's the word that I'm looking for, but it takes a lot of your energy to listen to other people's problems, especially while you have your own stuff going on. So how do you balance that out? How do you recharge so you can go back to the shop the next day and hear a whole slew of other problems?
um ideally when I come home, I kind of literally just put my phone down, and I
Hmm.
kind of just detach. I detach from the world just a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll either go somewhere and sit down. I'll sit down in the dark and I just let my body kind of just wind down naturally,
yeah,
and I'll just regroup all my thoughts, and then I will see what's happening on my phone, speak to whoever I need to speak to, clear whatever I need to clear, and then I would read. I would actually read to kind of refocus my mind in itself, and
yeah,
it's hard not to look at your phone before you go to bed, because they say that your mind needs to calm down and right before you go to bed so you can get the deepest sleep and all that kind of stuff. But it's very easy to just watch a
mhm,
YouTube video and fall asleep, or look at
yeah,
Instagram. And one thing I have noticed, it's very addicting, some of these things, where you start off with, let's just say you're looking at a pair of shoes, and next thing you know, I'm in a rabbit hole looking at videos on dogs jumping through hoops. It's like, what was I doing? What, what did I open my phone for? Like, what's going on?
that's so funny. Yeah, I every now and then like I'll move my apps around on my phone because I have this muscle memory of once I open my phone to just press where a certain app would be.
Yeah,
Um, and so moving it kind of allows me that readjustment phase of shit. I go on this a lot. And before it's like if I'll open my browser, the first thing I would type is FAC and then wait for Facebook to pop up. Let's say even if I'm looking for like the menu of another store or restaurant that I want to go to, like I'll instinctively just open it and then start typing in Facebook because I want and because that's what I've been doing. It's my muscle memory.
yeah.
And it's that's yeah, no, it's those rabbit holes, man, like they'll get you. They'll,
No, it's bad, and the next thing you know, it's, where did an hour and a half of my life go? Like,
yeah, yeah.
what what happened? Wasn't I supposed to leave 30 minutes ago? It's like,
Oh
oh my
man.
god.
So now like one other thing too that I wanna commend you with is not only did you start a business um during the pandemic, but at the same time, like you're juggling all that while being a new dad. So I'm curious to know like what that has been like in regards to time, where it's like how is your time management where you got to go from work to being attentive dad to like where's your head at now with that?
Um, you know, I'll be honest with you, it comes naturally
Hmm.
when you get home or you're around her. You naturally feel as if this is where you're supposed to be and nothing else is important.
Hmm.
Like when I'm attending to her and dealing with her and she's trying to show me something, I'm trying to be as present as possible. And it doesn't matter who's speaking, trying to contact me, or it it just feels natural. I don't know if
Yeah.
all my fellow parents, they're gonna know what I'm speaking about. Where you could just disappear for hours because that person just naturally makes you happy. Just seeing them
Hmm.
learn, seeing them do certain things, they it just makes you happy and you want to see more. You want to
Hmm.
do more. You want to see more with them.
Yeah.
It's almost like a safe haven, man.
Hmm.
Like you remember, I don't want to compare her to this, but do you remember back in the day when we had Tamagotchis? And we were I was focused on making that thing grow, feeding it. like it was just, it's very rewarding. It's just instantaneous reward. Like I would go to the store and I would buy her favorite snack, and I'm coming home and she's growing. She's gonna grow today one way or another. Like, she's gonna grow.
This guy
And
called her a Tamagotchi.
I said, don't trip me on this. Don't worry, she's not
That's
gonna
so
die.
funny.
She's not gonna die. You know when the Tamagotchis died? It's like, yo, my Tamagotchi died.
Yo, I didn't feed it. I didn't take it out for a walk.
I'm
I didn't.
so upset. My Tamagotchi died.
Yo, I'm crying right now.
And you know what? You know what's crazy? How I acquired my first Tamagotchi? I stole it. I stole my first Tamagotchi. Don't worry, I didn't steal my daughter. I had to produce her, right? But I stole
That's
my
so funny.
first Tamagotchi. And man,
Oh my
karma,
God.
I killed that thing, boy.
And now you got the ultimate
That
Tamagotchi.
ultimate
That's so funny.
Tamagotchi. And she's at a
So
point.
now
Yeah.
with her, um, you're a barber. Typically, when you go to barber shops, the barber and the salon are two different things.
Mhm.
So how's your hair braiding skills now?
I am
Are you
not.
are you experimenting on her now? Are you trying to
I
to
had one
braid her
incident.
hair?
I had one incident, and her mom made fun of me. The part was like the part was like over here. It's supposed to be in the middle, but it was over to the side. She had like one bump here and one bun here, and I don't know what I did, but somehow the elastic band was like in a knot, or her hair tie was not tied when it was getting pulled out, and I felt so bad. I feel like now I'm gonna start searching up videos on YouTube on how to braid and how to, yeah, that's the next thing. I'm gonna figure it out. But she's so smart
Oh
now.
man.
She'll be like, no, daddy, I don't want you to do it. I don't want you to braid my hair. You can't braid it, daddy. Yeah, she
That's
literally
great.
tells me this. She tells me stuff.
So you said that now you're looking up YouTube. tutorials and stuff, like trying to figure that stuff out. But before, you said when you were learning how to cut hair, you had to travel places to learn. I'm curious to know about that. Like, where'd you go? What did you learn? Who did you learn from?
What I was doing, I was going to barbershops and I would just sit down
Hmm.
and I would just observe and watch. And then one day they were just like,
My bad. We're
is
right
that a
next to.
rain?
Oh, yeah, we're next. We're next to. My bad. Didn't mean to start with you.
That thing is going fast.
Yeah, trains do that.
Yeah,
Trains pick up speed.
they go fast. Normally I thought it was slow progression, but it was like boom.
That's so funny.
Um,
But no, yeah. So was this just then in Toronto, barbershops in Toronto, or like did you actually go to Miami? Because I know they give dope cuts out there.
it started off. It's how I actually got into the actual barbershop scene. Um, my first barbershop was uh, on Lawrence beside
Which one?
Patty Time. Conrad's barbershop it was beside Patty Time,
Hmm.
Lawrence and Brimley. And I ended up, and I it's weird how the world works because, so let's pull back a little bit. I actually ended up going to Lieberman because my sisters went there. I wasn't
Hmm.
supposed to go to because that's not my home school. Pope, actually, no, MT was my home school, or Pearson. And my parents said, no, they don't want me to go there. So they
That was the
actually
same thing with my
went,
parents. They wanted me out of Malvern during during those years where it's like, oh no, MT's your homeschool? No, we're gonna get you out of Malvern for high school.
they did not want me there at all. So I ended up at Lieberman, and I don't know if you remember Mr. Romany, Mr. Ainsley
Hmm.
Romany.
Yeah.
So he went to school with my sisters, and when he saw my
Hmm.
last name, like, wait. No way. So he took a special love, care, I guess, for me. And he was actually at a point in his life where he was DJing, he was cutting
Hmm.
hair, he was trying to play soccer still. Um, he was trying to find his lane. I give him that. He was trying to find his lane. And he was cutting at Conrad's, like apprenticing. And he told me, oh, to get my hours, to get your school hours, to come in and get them there. I said,
Oh,
what? No
dope.
way. Perfect. Like, this is perfect. And so I ended up at Conrad's, and I started cutting on the weekends, and I would watch those guys in there. And my whole thing is, I will look at what you do that's different from me, and I'm gonna master it, and I'm gonna blend it into
Hmm.
what I do. Because it might not even
Yeah.
be that you cut well; it could just be you speak well. I like the way you
Hmm.
speak. I like the way you greet people. I like the way you engage people. I'm gonna figure out how you do that, and I'm gonna get really good at that.
Hmm.
Because that's another aspect that a lot of people don't have. They don't know how to talk to people. Talking to people is a very
Yeah.
important. You're selling yourself. You have to
Yeah.
have that confidence. You have to be able to tell people what they need, not what they want, but what they need.
Hmm.
So it went from there, and then I met some other barbers along the way, and then it started going to Atlanta. And if you thought barbering was one thing here in the States, it's a whole nother ball game.
Oh yeah.
It's and that it rekindled my fire. It made me want to learn more and do more. So I started taking stuff that they're doing out there, which for some reason Americans are always 2 or 3 years more advanced than Canadians. I don't know if we're
Yeah.
ignorant to doing certain things. I don't know, or we just don't like change. We don't like advancing this.
Nah, they're just front seat when in the entertainment world, and like I would definitely classify barbershops as part of the fashion industry.
Mm-hmm.
So America is just ahead of us
Yeah,
regardless.
yeah. So even down to the products, certain products that they have there, it's like, holy, this is like, why didn't we? We don't think barbering is to be innovated here, which is weird. But in the
Mm,
States, they innovate a lot. They try to look at something and say, what can we do to make this better? And they make it better. And then they sell and make money and
yeah,
eventually gets here. Like
yeah.
the biggest thing now is color enhancements, coloring your hair, putting hair on people who don't have hair, like hair units, hair wigs.
Mm,
The man weave game in the States is really big, really big.
mm.
And where I know a couple guys, it went to the point where they work on movie sets now because they learn how to do
Oh wow.
makeup. They learn how to do makeup, and then they yeah. they, learn, they learn how to do makeup, and they learn how to do the hair units. So barbers are starting to become one dimensional, and sets are starting to hire them more often. Well, perfect
Mm,
example. You ever heard of Kings of Napa?
yeah.
So we just did that show. Uh, all
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah, like because they shot it here. They shot it. Some
Yeah,
parts were in Niagara, some parts were
yeah,
downtown, and they're starting to realize that barbers are very essential because now they're starting to get a lot of black actors who
yeah,
do not want stylists to cut their hair because it's
yeah,
really bad. So now if your lead actor is essentially a black actor, your role as a director is to make everyone happy. And
yeah,
if your lead is happy, especially with the continuity of the haircuts and that sort of thing,
yeah.
it gets frustrating,
That's so
right?
dope,
And
man.
you don't want to,
Congrats with that.
yeah, and that in itself is even um it's a weird lane to get into because
Mm,
especially when it comes to acting, I didn't know like the union. I think it's IACT and
yeah,
the whole getting your hours in and all this kind of stuff. Like it's a big thing. Um,
yeah,
I it's pretty. That's a whole different ballgame.
mm,
But yeah, it's very dope. It's pretty cool. I
yeah,
essentially want to be on set because when directors like you, they like you.
yeah. No, that's essential. That's definitely essential to the film industry where, and it's blown up in regards to black women as well because like there's so many shows now, and with social media, as soon as people see tracks in a wig, like they Black Twitter just goes to work. So it's like knowing that you need black stylists to deal with black hair. And now, like, especially with the men, like, we do it in the group where we roast people when we see bad lineups. And now that's catching on to the mainstream where it's like everybody knows what a good lineup is. Well, we could hope so. But that's like the thing now where it's just like because the fans are noticing, now directors and executive producers are like, oh, this is a thing. We need to rectify this. So dope that you're on the front lines for that.
Yeah, no, it's so, and hopefully it goes even further into being like permanent figures onto these sets, because it's a lot of
Yeah,
pulling, a lot of pulling and vouching. I vouch for this person to get to this point,
yeah,
because there's people who live in, when they get into that role, they live and die there. They don't. Yeah, you're makeup one, and your hairdresser, like, that's it.
yeah.
You,
That's it. That's it.
that's it. So
Hmm.
that's another aspect that we want to take the brand into also.
Yeah, that's dope. Good luck with that, man. We're getting into that time where I gotta let you go, but I got one more question that I'm hoping you can shine light on with your professionalism in the field of barberology.
Mm-hmm.
But can you like look at a man's haircut and say, "Oh yeah, no, he got that from Miami or he got that from New York." Like, do regions have that dialect, if you will, when it comes to cutting hair?
Um, Not to that extent. I don't think you can.
Hmm.
It's hard to say it from the Toronto side of things, because Torontonians, they get haircuts. They're good or they're bad.
Yeah.
But with Americans now, like if I'm in America, you can definitely distinguish where, if someone got their haircut from the South, or got it
Hmm.
from New York, or they got it from Miami. And there'll be certain things, like they're very blunt with coloring. A guy could have no
Hmm.
hair, but they're coloring lines onto people. Like they're very like, so that's a down south haircut, where it looks like a
Hmm.
Sharpie did it. Or
Yeah.
for instance, Miami has a lot of um, Dominicans, Spanish. Those that they're big into blading, using blades.
Hmm.
They're very big into that. So you're gonna get a lot of natural sharp lines, and then you're gonna have
Hmm.
New York, where they fade really well, but they do more eccentric haircuts, like angled flat tops or new parts, or they're very, because New York's big into fashion. They're front runners
Yeah.
trying to create certain styles that create a lot of noise. Like, oh, who did that? Like, what is that? Like,
Yeah.
why is like why is the part going like this into the beard and doing all this funny
Yeah.
weird stuff? Like, so in the American side of things, yes, I can distinguish in that sense, but I don't think you can do it in Canada.
Hmm.
Like, oh yeah, you got that fade from Durham. Like, no, that's a peel haircut. Like, it's very hard. And the reason why it's
Yeah.
kind of hard is because, like, I have clients that are coming from Peel to the east or to the north, and it's like you kind of because I'm essentially from the east, but I'm cutting hair in the north.
Yeah.
So how can you say is that an east or it doesn't
Hmm.
indicate that here. It's
Gotcha.
yeah, everyone's kind of the same. It's either you're good or you're bad.
Fair. Dope. Um, and I got one more question. Um, because my most memorable barbershop experience was when I was in Trinidad. This was for Carnival, and I was using Kale's cousin's trimmer, and it died halfway through my haircut. So they're like, "All right, this is an emergency because we're going to Fete and we need to look good." So he took me down to like a local barber shop. And I remember they're like, "No, we can't. We got a lineup. We won't be able to help you." and then like they just took my hat off, and they're like, "Ooh, all right, take a seat."
Really?
I'm curious to know, like, yeah, where it's like, it was bad. It was bad. Like, they knew that if I went to a fet with that, like, it, no, it would not work. There would be absolutely no luck with me with that look. But I'm curious to know if, like, what's your favorite story in regards to rectifying a botched haircut?
Um, there was this kid. His mom. He didn't want to go to the barber shop where he was, and his mom's like, "Oh, I can do it. I can do it. Whatever." Like, and I don't know what happened, but all I remember
Mm.
is he came in, and the shop was packed, and it was like, "Can you help me?" And we're like, "Sure, just wait, we'll get to you." And it wasn't no crazy, crazy, crazy wait, but when we got to him now, it was like he took his hat off, and it was like, it, it was so funny. It was like,
You had the whole shop looking.
buddy. I think at one point there was like three of us trying to like trying to line up the ruler. It ended up we just had to like shave the kid's hair really, 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 really low. It was just
Oh
like,
no.
wow, you didn't stop. You just kept going. Like, why would you like? It was like up here, what is let up back here? And you just kept going. I think it's funny. There was for y'all entertainment.
Yeah.
So there was a video, and it was how a barber looks when he's fucking Filino, and it was he just saying, and it was literally how it looks every single time. He just yeah,
Mm.
and he
You gotta look at it from different angles to like.
but no, there was that incident, and there's ones where I remember the worst one was someone processed their hair. They try to get it curly, and when you're doing
Mm.
chemical treatment, that's a whole different ball game, and you have to watch the
Yeah.
time, dude. The afro, they had an afro, and it came out like your hair.
Wow.
It was bone straight,
Wow.
bone, bone, bone straight, and it's as a barber, it's hard not to laugh at first. It's really hard not to. It's really hard not to. But these incidents happen, and I personally look at them as this is challenging. I like it. It's a new task. Let me
Mm.
see how I can this up. Let me fix this. I can do it.
That's funny.
I can do it. So I take it as a challenge because
Yeah,
stuff like this,
that's funny.
you know,
This guy tried to get a Jerry curl and it just got to Jerry. He just no curl, just Jerry.
and he was defeated. He was
Oh man.
defeated. He said, "Yo," even the way he sat in the chair, I knew he it's just cut it off, bro. Just cut it off. Just he's defeated. I was like, oh,
That's funny.
he's like, I can't go to school like this.
Man. Bro, I just want to say, man, for the community, thank you for creating a safe space for men to talk. because it's rare to find that, and it's rare to find a collection of other people that you can converse with. So the barbershop is a quintessential role in any neighborhood, let alone a developing community. So kudos to you for that, man. But thanks for coming out, man, and giving me your time. I know you've got a busy schedule, and so I appreciate you,
I
brother.
appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for, you know, allowing me to rant, throw my hands around, go back and forth. I appreciate it.
All good, all good.
And on that note,
And on that note, everybody, thanks for tuning in to the 2 Degrees podcast brought to you by the Play On Foundation. And check out everything Khori's doing with his barbershop Speqtrim. You can find that. What's the address of that in Toronto?
461 Highway 7 East, Unionville. Make sure you put Unionville, because if you put Markham, you're going to end up 10 minutes down the road. Unionville.
Well, that's only 10 minutes, as opposed to like
in the winter.
taking you, yeah, as opposed to like
Lost is
taking you to
lost.
like Durham.
Lost.
Lost is lost. Fair enough. Especially if you need your haircut.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in. And Coral, you stay safe, man.
You too, brother. Peace.